Did Nostradamus really predict the rise of Hitler, the Great Fire of London, or even the 9/11 attacks? In this video, we'll reveal the chilling truth behind his most famous prophecies and uncover the mysteries that have puzzled scholars for centuries. But first, let's dive into the mind of this enigmatic seer. Nostradamus, the man behind the prophecies. Michel de Nostradamus, born in 1503 in Provence, France, was a man of many talents. Originally trained as a physician, Nostradamus turned to astrology and prophecy in his later years. His medical career was marked by efforts to combat the plague, but it was his work as a seer that brought him lasting fame. In 1555, he published Les Prophéties, a collection of 942 quatrains, 4-line verses, written in a mix of French, Latin, Greek, and Provençal. These cryptic poems, filled with symbolic language and obscure references, have fascinated and perplexed readers for centuries. Whether viewed as a genuine prophet or a clever charlatan, Nostradamus remains one of history's most enigmatic figures. Decoding the quatrains. Are they real predictions? Nostradamus's quatrains are deliberately vague, allowing for multiple interpretations. His writing style, full of symbolic language, historical references, and astrological allusions, creates an aura of mystery. Some believe these quatrains predicted events like the French Revolution, the rise of Napoleon, and even the moon landing. However, critics argue that Nostradamus's verses are too ambiguous to be considered true predictions. The language used is often so broad and metaphorical that it can be retroactively applied to almost any significant event. This has led to endless debates about whether Nostradamus genuinely foresaw the future, or whether his quatrains are simply a reflection of the anxieties and fears of his time. The Great Fire of London, coincidence or prophecy? One of Nostradamus's most cited predictions is the Great Fire of London in 1666. A quatrain reads, "The blood of the just will be demanded of London, burnt by fire in the year 66. Supporters claim this verse is a clear reference to the devastating fire that ravaged the city, destroying much of its medieval heart. However, skeptics argue that the prediction is far too vague. London was a densely populated city with frequent fires, and 1666 was a year of great political and social tension. The coincidence of the fire occurring in a year ending in 66 might simply be that, a coincidence, rather than evidence of Nostradamus's prophetic powers." Did Nostradamus predict the rise of Hitler? A quatrain that mentions Easter has often been linked to Adolf Hitler, leading some to believe that Nostradamus foresaw the rise of the Nazi dictator. The verse describes a figure who will rise from the great part of the battlefield and come forth as a tyrant. Easter is interpreted as a misspelling of Hitler, but historians argue that it likely refers to the old name for the Danube River, Ister. This could indicate a geographic region rather than a person. While some see this as evidence of Nostradamus predicting Hitler's rise, others view it as a case of historical revisionism, where the prophecy is fitted to match the events after they occurred. Nostradamus and the French Revolution. The French Revolution, one of the most significant events in history, has also been linked to Nostradamus's prophecies. A quatrain mentioning a great empire brought down and commoners rising against their lords has been interpreted as a prediction of the revolution that began in 1789. The imagery of the great empire falling and the rise of the common people seems to align with the fall of the French monarchy and the upheaval that followed. However, as with many of Nostradamus's prophecies, the language is broad enough that it could be applied to various revolts throughout history. Critics argue that this is another example of reading too much into the quatrains. 9/11 and Nostradamus, a modern myth. In the aftermath of the 9/11 attacks, many turned to Nostradamus's quatrains, claiming they predicted the tragedy. Some verses were circulated online, purportedly describing two steel birds falling from the sky and destroying the city of the New World. However, these verses were either heavily altered or completely fabricated. Genuine Nostradamus quatrains don't contain such specific imagery. Instead, they use more general symbolic language. The connection between Nostradamus and 9/11 is more a product of modern myth-making in the internet age than a true prophetic vision. It raises the question, are we finding meaning in Nostradamus's words, or are we imposing our own interpretations on them? The death of Henry II, a chilling prediction? One of the most famous and chilling of Nostradamus's prophecies is said to predict the death of King Henry II of France. The quatrain describes a young lion who will defeat an older one on the battlefield, leading to his death through a golden cage and piercing eyes. In 1559, Henry II died after a jousting accident where a lance pierced his visor, lodging in his eye. The parallels between the prophecy and the event are striking, leading many to believe Nostradamus truly foresaw the king's death. However, skeptics suggest that the prophecy was either a lucky guess or retroactively interpreted to fit the details of Henry's demise. Nostradamus's influence on modern culture. Nostradamus's influence extends far beyond the 16th century. His quatrains have permeated modern culture, appearing in books, movies, and even music. The mystique surrounding his prophecies has made him a popular figure in the world of conspiracy theories, where his quatrains are often cited as evidence of everything, from global wars to alien invasions. This cultural impact has ensured that Nostradamus remains a figure of fascination, even in an age where skepticism and science dominate. His work continues to inspire debates about the nature of prophecy and whether it's possible to truly predict the future, or if Nostradamus was simply a master of ambiguous language. Nostradamus's techniques, astrology, and the occult. Nostradamus didn't create his quatrains out of thin air. He relied on a combination of astrology, ancient texts, and occult practices. He believed that by studying the stars and their movements, he could foresee future events. This belief was rooted in the ancient practice of astrology, which held that celestial bodies influenced earthly affairs. Nostradamus also drew from a vast knowledge of classical literature, particularly the works of historians and philosophers. He used these sources to craft quatrains that blended historical references with astrological predictions. His involvement in the occult also played a role, as he conducted rituals to tap into what he believed were supernatural insights, blending science and mysticism. The legacy of Les Prophéties. Nostradamus's Les Prophéties has endured for nearly 5 centuries, captivating readers and scholars alike. Despite the skepticism surrounding his predictions, the book has been reprinted countless times, often during periods of social upheaval or war. Its cryptic verses continue to be a subject of intense study, with new interpretations emerging as global events unfold. This enduring interest is a testament to the human fascination with the unknown and the desire to make sense of the future. Whether viewed as a genuine prophetic work or a clever manipulation of language, Les Prophéties has left an indelible mark on history and culture. Skepticism and criticism. Debunking Nostradamus. Nostradamus's work has attracted significant criticism over the centuries. Many scholars argue that his quatrains are so vague that they can be retroactively applied to almost any major event. This, they suggest, is not a sign of prophecy, but rather of clever wordplay designed to exploit human psychology. Others point out that Nostradamus's use of multiple languages and obscure references was intended to obscure the meaning of his verses, making them more mysterious and, therefore, more compelling. This skepticism is crucial in understanding the ongoing debate about Nostradamus. Was he a true seer, or was he simply a master of ambiguity and manipulation? Was Nostradamus a prophet or a fraud? The question of whether Nostradamus was a genuine prophet or a clever charlatan has been debated for centuries. His supporters point to the eerie accuracy of some predictions, like the death of Henry II, as proof of his abilities. Critics, however, argue that these predictions are either the result of lucky guesses or have been misinterpreted to fit historical events. The truth likely lies somewhere in between. Nostradamus was undoubtedly a skilled writer and astrologer, but whether he had any real insight into the future remains an open question. What is certain is that his legacy continues to spark debate and intrigue around the world. From kings to catastrophes, Nostradamus's quatrains have been linked to countless events. But what if we've only scratched the surface of his mysterious prophecies? Could there be more secrets waiting to be uncovered? Drop your thoughts in the comments and make sure to subscribe for more historical mysteries.